in our subject, Technopreneurship, we are going to tackle three main topics today. So, namely, intellectual property and ethics, the social responsibility, and lastly, globalization. So let me first introduce myself. I am Alcala.
And I am Sevillo, and we are your reporters for today. So without further ado, let's go take a look into the said topics that we will be discussing further in this video. Intellectual property is defined by the World Intellectual Property Organization as any work that is creative and includes inventions, literary works, images, and symbols. These are protected by laws such as patents, copyright, trademarks, and trade secret laws, all of which are legal means to protect unique ideas, inventions, and other non-tangible property. The four types of laws that protect intellectual property. Number 1. Copyrights. These are legal protection extended to the owner of the rights in an original work. So, in simpler terms, copyright is the right to copy. Copyright laws grant authors, artists, and other creators automatic protection for their literary and artistic creations from the moment they create it. Number 2 are trademarks. It refers to recognizable insignia, phrase, word, or symbol that denotes a specific product and legally differentiates it from all other products of its kind. A trademark registration will confer an exclusive right to the use of the registered trademark. It will exclusively identify a product as belonging to a specific company and recognizes the company's ownership of the brand. Trademarks are generally considered a form of intellectual property and may or may not be registered. Number 3 are patents. It allows you to prevent others from using your invention for commercial purposes for up to 20 years. These are exclusive rights granted by a government to an inventor to manufacture, use, or sell an invention for a certain number of years. Number 4. Trade secret. These are confidential information which may be sold or licensed. It is also any practice or process of a company that is generally not known outside of the company. Information considered a trade secret gives the company an economic advantage over its competitors and is often a product of internal research and development. In general, to qualify as a trade secret, the information must be A. Commercially valuable because it is a secret. B. Be known only to a limited group of persons. And C. Be subject to reasonable steps taken by the rightful holder of the information to keep it secret, including the use of confidentiality agreements for business parties and employees. To summarize everything, here are 3 points we have to consider. Intellectual property can sometimes be worth more money than physical assets, which means they should be protected just like physical assets. Second, creation of economic growth and wealth is a reason for the benefit of intellectual property. And lastly, most laws concerning intellectual property promotes progress. The right to intellectual property motivates innovation and creativity. Ethics and intellectual property. Some of the most common ethical decisions youth face online revolve around intellectual property. But teaching kids to respect intellectual property can be challenging because they may not see this as an ethical issue. There are 4 main reasons for this. Number 1, the easy availability of unauthorized content online gives us less time to think about the ethics or possible consequences of accessing it. Number 2, digital media can make it easier not to feel empathy for the people affected by our actions. Third, social codes of youth culture where streaming, sharing, and downloading are the norm can lead to the youth thinking that this isn't a big deal. And lastly, there is a lot of confusion among both youth and adults of what is legal and ethical when accessing online content. Here are ways to respect intellectual property online. Given all these challenges, A much simpler and more manageable approach is to promote respect for the creators and copyright holders of online content. In other words, before we watch, listen to, or play online media, we need to think about whether we're doing this in a way that shows respect for the people who made it and own it. Looking at it from an ethical standpoint, it comes down to a simple concept. Before watching, listening, or playing online media, we need to think about whether we're doing this in a way that shows respect for the people who made it and own it. While copyright law may be complicated, we can teach young people the importance of treating content creators with respect in the terms that they can understand. Just because it is online doesn't mean you can use it or take it. And for the things that you are allowed to use, make sure to give credit to the person or the company who owns the copyright.
So in our next topic, we're going to talk about social responsibilities. What are its meanings? The kinds of social responsibilities, the social responsibility in practice, and the social responsibilities of engineers. So first, what is social responsibility? So social responsibility, or also known as corporate social responsibility, is a means of achieving sustainability through our environment, our society, and our economy. Obligation of the business towards various groups in the society. Element of voluntary action on part business for the benefit of the society. Broader concept than legal responsibility. Social responsibility has become increasingly important to investors and consumers who seek investments that are not just profitable but also contribute to the welfare of society and the environment. Kinds of social responsibility. First, economic responsibility. It produces goods and services that is useful and needed by the society. Next, legal responsibility. Operate within the laws of land. Third, ethical responsibility. Respects religious sentiments. And lastly, discretionary responsibility. Charitable contributions for a cause. Social responsibility in practice. The International Organization for Standardization emphasizes that a business' ability to maintain a balance between pursuing economic performance and adhering to societal and environmental issues is a critical factor in operating effectively and efficiently. The social responsibilities of engineers includes human safety and environmental protection in engineering design and ethical responsibilities to society. Examples: to ensure the risk, safety, and well-being of the public, ensures the society's funds and resources concerning technology are well used, refusing to work on a particular project or for a particular company, speaking out publicly against a proposed project, individual and organizational concern about the impact of engineering projects on society, commitment of engineering professions and organizations to principles of social responsibility, commitment of risk assessment experts to ethical safety assessments, commitment of engineering schools to educate future engineers on their social responsibilities. So for our last topic, we are going to define globalization, its dimensions, the global economy, and additional information about it. So what is globalization? So globalization is the growing interdependence of the world's economies, culture, and population, brought about by the cross-border tradings of goods and services, technology, flow of investment, people, and information. We may also refer it to the process of interaction and integration of people, companies, and government of different nations. According to the World Health Organization, globalization can be defined as the increased interconnectedness and interdependence of peoples and countries. It is generally understood to include two interrelated elements, and these are: first, the opening of international borders to increasingly fast flows of goods, services, finance, people, and ideas. And lastly, the changes in institutions and policies at national and international level that facilitates or promotes such flows. Dimensions of globalization. First, economic globalization results when corporations go multinational, either by selling their products in other countries, buying corporations located in other countries, or opening branch offices or subsidiaries outside their home country. Political globalization, or the formation of international connections among elected officials, bureaucrats, judges, social movement activists, and states, has also generated intense interest. In the cultural field, the major world religions, media conglomerates, multinational corporations, and international tourism transmit and translate meaning and symbols across the international boundaries. The development of the international communication infrastructures and the rapid expansion of communication technologies foster this process. And lastly, closely related is social globalization, or transnational connections formed by mobile individuals as they create social relationships. Global economy. The interest in the globalization of commercial and economic activities, which in returns depends on the following. First, information technology, the spread of new organizations that have developed advanced skills. Next, continuous innovation and contain research centers that constantly publish new technologies. Next, move to technopreneurship by integrating entrepreneurship with technology in order to keep its global competitive position. And lastly, build an economic society based on technological knowledge. Additional information about globalization. Technology has been the other principal driver of globalization. Advances in information technology, in particular, have dramatically transformed economic life. Information technologies have given all sorts of individual economic actors, consumers, investors, businesses, valuable new tool for identifying and pursuing economic opportunities, including faster and more informed analysis of economic trends around the world, easy transfers of assets, and collaboration with far-flung partners. Proponents of globalization argue that it allows poor countries and their citizens to develop economically and raise their standards of living. Opponents of globalization claim that the creation of the unfettered international free market has benefited multinational corporations in the Western world at the expense of local enterprises, local cultures, and common people. Resistance to globalization has therefore taken shape both at the popular and at the governmental level as people and governments try to manage the flow of capital, labor, goods, and ideas that constitute the current wave of globalization. To find the right balance between benefits and costs associated with globalization, citizens of all nations need to understand how globalization works and the policy choices facing them and their societies. So going back for a little recap about social responsibilities, again, it is a means of achieving sustainability. It has four kinds, and these are the economic responsibility, the legal responsibility, ethical responsibility, and discretionary responsibility. Now, we must remember that in a business, having an ability to control the performance in the aspects of economy, the environment, and the society plays a vital role for it to operate efficiently and effectively. And lastly, an example for social responsibility of an engineer is to ensure the safety of people and environment in its engineering design and to uphold ethical responsibility in the society. Now, in globalization, the important thing that we must remember is that it gives the chance for people and nations to interact, learn, and benefit from one another around the world through various means, especially trading and the use of technology. So that concludes our report, and we hope that you guys have a good day.